Just as many cultures use religious beliefs to explain strange phenomena in this world, the Japanese concept of yokai, rooted deep in the folk religion of Shinto, offers an Eastern equivalency to demons and monsters from the West. The earliest mention of Shinto can be found in the ancient Japanese chronicle Nihon Shoki, which uses the word interchangeably with kami, the divine aspect in the religion. In Shinto, kami encapsulate all unique, powerful, and awe-inspiring forces of everyday nature. Moreover, the folk religion observes animism, or the belief in the dead inhabiting the earth, a worldview dating back to the Jomon era, the very beginning of Japan's history. However, it is important to note the syncretism of Shinto and how it absorbed ideas from Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoist theories of yin and yang. It was from this syncretism that both Shinto ideas of animism and kami worship mingled with the yin and yang concepts of Taoism, creating positive and negative aspects in the world of kami. Just as the positive aspects of kami represent wonder and amazement, the negative aspects of kami accomplish a similar feat in Shintoism, representing the mysterious and seemingly dangerous phenomena in the world. The presence of yokai in Shinto can be traced back to the Heian period, where the term was first coined in the Shoku Nihongi, although it was rarely used at this time in favor of other words that denoted monsters or strange occurrences such as mononoke, oni, or hyakiyago. It wouldn't be until the Meiji period when Inui Enloi, a prominent Japanese scholar of the era, would popularize the word yokai as a term describing eerie and mysterious happenings. The root Chinese characters of yokai literally translate to thing of mystery, yet this would be still oversimplifying its true meaning. As the concept of yin and yang were incorporated into Shintoism, each kami now had a positive aspect, nigi, and a negative aspect, arami. Using this syncretic belief, followers maintain that yokai emerged from unworshipped kami, while worshipped kami remained the same. The state of change is integral to the conception of yokai, as it reflects the value of reverence for the kami in Shinto. For example, tsukumogami, one of the first types of yokai, were household items that gained supernatural powers if they were not given proper reverence. Even one's own home was to be respected under Shinto culture, as it dwelled around and was said to be inhabited by kami. Other than relating directly to kami, the conception of yokai also addresses the aspect of fear in the human condition. By using the concept of easily identifiable monsters, the Japanese people took control of their fears, struggles, and interpretations of the world around them, not unlike many other folklore and religions around the world. It was even through the eventual popularization of yokai that they were demystified around the Edo period, but remained well liked regardless. Despite coming from a religious background concerning negative kami, yokai blended into the popular culture of Japan, using humor and entertainment to counteract the terror of unexplainable events. In the process of humorizing and demystifying yokai in the Edo period through illustrations, yokai can now be categorized into specific classifications of supernatural happenings. Komatsu Kazuhiko, an expert in yokai folklore, classified yokai into 3 types: an event, presence, or an object. A yokai manifesting as an event can occur when something strange is felt through one's own 5 senses. For instance, the odd occurrence of hearing a tree being chopped in the distance, only to find no evidence of any woodcutter. Folklore claims that the Tengu Daioshi, a specific type of animal yokai, are responsible for the audio disturbance, as they are believed to be building their homes in the mountain. Relating to the mountains is also the Daidarabochi, or the giant priest who are claimed to be responsible for the mountainous landscapes all across Japan. A more benevolent spirit exists with the Hiyoribo, or the Teru Bozu, whose job is to observe good weather. Beginning in the Edo period, a trend arose out of the legend to craft a scapegoat doll resembling the Hiyoribo in order to banish evil spirits responsible for bad weather. The second type, as classified by Komatsu Kazuhiko, are yokai manifesting as a presence in the form of spirits stricken from extreme emotions such as anger, sadness, or even happiness. More than any other type, these yokai support the view of these monsters representing unconscious fears born from the human psyche. For instance, the oni in the Japanese tradition represent beings of awesome power who are associated with natural disasters such as earthquakes and storms. Although there was no distinction between kami and the oni in the past, the negative aspects of kami came to be associated with oni even prior to Buddhist and Taoist beliefs influencing Shinto. The root word of oni derives from a corrupted version of the word meaning to be concealed, as oni are interpreted as spirits hidden in the darkness. One aspect of the horror in oni can be seen with its female equivalent, the Yomotsu Shikome, who represents a taboo against looking, as recorded in Kojiki with Izangi's encounter with Izanami in the netherworld. Izanami's shame of Izangi seeing her monstrous appearance parallels the Greek myth of Orpheus and carries the same theme of a female being rejected by a male lover, inspired by very real human emotions of fear and loss. Another yokai presence is the Tengu, a devil-like spirit in Shinto who takes on the appearance of an animal, most typically a bird, and enjoys tormenting children and monks. Despite their portrayals as demons, depending on the legend, Tengu have also been held by Japanese Buddhists as protectors of the mountains and forests who happen to cause misfortune to humans due to natural cataclysms. Beginning in the late Heian period, Tengu were portrayed as spirits of the vain and arrogant, giving way to the saying Tengu ni naru to describe a conceited person. Despite these yokai stemming from places of violence and mayhem, the kitsune and tanuki represent more benevolent spirits that still remain true to yokai-inspired mischief and mystery. Kitsune, or foxes, have long been associated with paranormal happenings since the beginning of Japan and were first portrayed as yokai in Nihon Shoki. As one of the symbols of the Shinto and Buddhist god Inari, kitsune are frequently seen as divine messengers of good fortune and are revered in shrines across Japan. Despite this, they are also portrayed in folklore as masters of transformation and work together in scaring humans, such as taking on the form of the Noborabo, a faceless monk. In the folk culture of Japan, these vicious foxes are also believed to affect the mentally ill in cases of kitsune suki, or fox possession. Tanuki are another popular and more benevolent yokai with many of the same characteristics as kitsune. Similarly to kitsune, tanuki have a habit of shape-shifting, either to blend in with human society or to scare and make mischief. Since the Edo period, tanuki have been widely found on wooden block carvings and other forms of art as they became widely revered as cultural foundations of Japan or Shinto protectors of nature. These yokai serve as a catch-all for any mysterious and unexplained phenomena, or even cruelness and evil in the world, as humans can be interpreted as being possessed by the fox or being transformed tanuki. The oni, tengu, and even other animal yokai represent the anxieties of the Japanese people, from war to natural disaster and even human turmoil. Despite not being a literal other type of yokai, the object classification does address the spread of yokai-related images through scrolls following the introduction of Buddhism to Japan. It was through works of art that yokai gradually lost its identity, coming from mystery, horror, and folk beliefs, and instead became invented for entertainment purposes. Despite the mystery slowly fading away, the amount of yokai continued to increase, and the popularity of existing ones boomed, such as kitsune, tanuki, tengu, and the oni. Continuing into the Meiji period and modern Japanese culture, yokai continued to be relevant, with Mizuki Shigeru's illustrations first capitalizing on the popularity of yokai through anime and manga. Their portrayals range from completely amicable to monstrous. However, most attempt to sustain the mysterious aspect of these creatures, regardless of its own seriousness. An additional category of yokai worth mentioning are those purposely made in response to fear and anxieties, encompassing both supernatural events and presences. These yokai arguably still represent fears that exist in modern times that cannot be addressed through scientific means, while tengu and daioshi were used to explain phenomena that could later be solved through scientific observances. Yokai such as kurubozu, kuchisake onna, and shunobon thrive on pure psychological terror and random acts of violence, with the main fear being death. Kurubozu, or black monk, are one of the many yokai that take on the appearance of a priest in order to deceive humans. It feasts on the breasts of sleeping humans, mainly women, by creeping into their beds when they sleep, causing immense illness in the process. Being a relatively new yokai created in the Meiji period, this creature represents a more modern fear of home invasion and trauma from assault. Another fearsome yokai deeply rooted in Shinto beliefs come from the conception of Kuchisake Onna, or the slit-mouthed woman. The Shinto belief of animism is crucial for the horror aspect of this yokai, as it involves the presence of a onryo, or a vengeful spirit. These types of spirits are typically depicted as women who are wrongfully killed and exact revenge against humanity in the afterlife. Being created in the Edo period, Kuchisake Onna is a relatively modern yokai that promotes the specific fear of vengeful spirits in Japanese animism. Lastly, one example of an overt monster not taking the form of an oni is a shunobon, or scarlet tray priest. This yokai works on the element of surprise and psychological fear by disguising as a seemingly harmless monk, only to shock humans to death with their monstrous appearance. While shunobon is a modern yokai compared to Kuchisake Onna and Kurubosu, these three and many more share themes of being caught in near-death scenarios and being encountered by fearsome creatures. While the former two were more likely made for entertainment and shocking purposes, all three take elements of ancient yokai and animism to create a uniquely Japanese brand of horror that encapsulates modern fears of encountering dangerous individuals. Despite the era of the mysterious yokai being over, the relevancy of Japan's folkloric beasts are likely to continue into the far and near future. As the past few modern examples of yokai have demonstrated, new mysteries and fears continue to evolve over time, creating fresh inquiries for mankind to solve through paranormal means. As evidenced by Kuchisake Onna, there will always be room for the horror aspect of yokai, especially through its foundations in Shinto and animism. Just as the roots of Shinto remain clear in Japanese culture, yokai and animism, as portrayed through art and stories, will always find its home through nature and wonder in Japan.